Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trekyards. He is Commander Cockings.
He's got a Foley.
And today we're talking about the finale, this season, all the finales for Lower Decks. Season 5, Episode 10, The New Next Generation.
Goodbye, Lower Decks. We hope you return in a movie form or miniseries form soon, or at least eventually. But, Stuart, the big question we're going to ask you then is, how was it? How did you feel about it having just watched it? And how do you think of it being a series finale?
It was an absolute fantastic series finale, and probably one of the best episodes of Lower Decks for me personally. I really enjoyed the hell out of this. Part 2 definitely made Part 1 better. And yeah, this is going to be fun to talk about. They literally opened the door to a whole new avenue of possibilities for Star Trek Online and whatever.
That's true.
And they either really love or really hate Trekyards, because we got a lot to talk about. And that's fine. And actually, thank you, Mike McMahon and crew, for actually justifying the fact that the disco verse is in fact a different quantum reality, as proved by the beginning of this episode. So anyway, I thought it was fantastic. Lots of nice new ships, cool things to look at. And I'm super stoked about it. The story was great. Everybody was included. No legacy characters in voice form, but that's fine. This was a finale for Lower Decks, and they nailed it. Everybody had a part to play, and it was fantastic. So it'll be interesting to talk about. But yeah, I'm really happy with what I've seen. So I'm eager to hear your thoughts now.
I think the word is dense.
It is very dense.
I mean, there's some little moments of inefficiency with the Mariner being, is she hiding Mark's friend? That was a little bit like, why we spend so much time on that? But the rest of it's like, every voice line is sort of important, and everyone's everywhere, and everyone's doing something, which does give it this grand feel that, you know, they didn't put money into legacies at all, which is kind of surprising, because certainly there's the Schrodinger's cat at the end of the Enterprise E, you know, it's like, or the Chekhov's gun. There's definitely that, which we'll get later. But the fact that they had so many recognizable people, the fact that, and we've said this for several years now, they've done such a good job at creating a crew feel that they can justifiably show cutaways to side characters or, you know, third tier characters, and like, oh, it's that guy, and know enough about who they are, remember, to be meaningful. So seeing the introductions of this year of, you know, Apollo's daughter, you know, that race people, and the Australian girl were just nice to have. I mean, meaningless in the grand scheme of like to have a few lines, although narratively important for the lightning bolt, which is cool. But it felt just dense and packed and different. And I'm glad we got a known race as the villains. The Klingons always add something, and just that adds a bit of the canon fun. The variety of ships was just them having fun as well. And the fact that they use a lot of their own assets again, you know, while it was some level of, wow, we spent money, to me it more felt like, what assets do we have that we could load up in 6 minutes with some quick texture updates, and then can put into the scene and give you this grand scale while not actually spending money, which is clever, right? You know, so how do Trek shorts? It's like, well, what do I have in the buffer that I can just do? So that was good. Story was very simple, of course, because it really was just get to the anomaly and close it, and that was not difficult, really. But it was the journey of how they got there and how dense it was with just jam-packed fun. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed it as well. Hopefully we can, there's a lot to talk about. As you said, it's very dense, and I think it was a good send-off for all the Lower Decks, honestly. And I looked at the time, it was like almost 34 minutes. I was like, yes, they added some extra time at the end there. And now Starbase 80 is one of the most important starbases.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of got their due, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if I was going to say I'm looking forward to see what comes next, but yeah, like you said, a movie or something would be fantastic. And as I said with Star Trek Online, I mean, they add this now. You can go to any of the multiverses of quantum realities that they want to come up with now. And what I meant by the Klingon thing was, you saw one of our prime Klingons turn into a disco Klingon, and they talk, it was changing quantum realities. So yes, I was correct all these years. Discoverse is its own thing.
Discussion to be had, of course, which is exciting. Yeah, it was so lower decks while still having a heroic scale, while still making fun of them, a la, well, the Enterprise should be here, and it is on its way, and we wouldn't send a Cali because we wouldn't send a Cali class, but you need to be for this reason, which was logical and made sense. And then they technoed their way to the solution, which of course, because it's an engineering ship, that made sense. The shield modifier did some work, that made sense. It was all pretty logical, and it was an easy fix. So it was a giant problem, but it was a very easy solution, as it was just the journey along the way, with the Klingons being the big side note, with one of the best gags being, why is the ship not changing? No, it is. It's just they don't change the designs enough, that it's always the same. That's a funny gag. Good way to save money.
Yeah, and we've talked about that a lot over the years with Klingon designs. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They just kind of go with the flow, keep the old designs.
Almost every universe is the same damn ship. So, yeah. But I will say there's two things I definitely left thinking, why didn't you? Because they certainly should have, right? And I felt they were going to. One, an Enterprise crew member being at the end. The E was there. And you should not load into the chamber a bulletin Enterprise E and then not use it in any way. It being there is not enough. One character in the background doing one thing, all you needed. Yeah. And the fact that Titan was there as well. There was no Riker talking to Boimlers. Again, that was definitely a low point at the end, not having that. And the second thing, and I'm shocked they didn't, and I was actually waiting for it, because it was the setup of the Sentry, right? You have, near the end, the last 6 minutes, before they just finished it, one of the blasts hits the ship, and they go live action. And we see Boimler and Mariner and a green screen background, everything else out of focus, so it's kind of, don't have to cast the entire crew, and you see them doing a part of the scene, live action, and cuts back. I'm shocked they didn't, and that was a giant missed opportunity, because that was own goal, guys. Own goal.
I wasn't even thinking that, but that would have been great, yeah.
They have the uniforms, they have the makeup, they have this, it's super easy to do.
If you wanted to include the Enterprise, which I thought they might, it would have been cool to have Worf be in command of the Enterprise E, first of all. It show up, and then it get changed to a Cali class, and then the California class gets turned to a Sovereign. So Worf's kind of out of the picture because they need a bigger ship. That would have been kind of cool, but it's also cool that the California class and the Cerritos was the one that solved the problem. So, again, and I think no matter what they would have done in that regard, it might have taken away a little bit from the specialness of the lower decks ship and crew.
At the end on Starbase 80, Freeman with the Lady Ilorian and Worf and Riker all at the bar together doing their version because they're all high ranking, and that's it. It's just how you find Riker's, how you find the Enterprise, Mr. Worf? It is good.
Yeah, as a quick bar scene, I'd be happy with that. I wouldn't take away from anything.
Kind of like it wouldn't exactly. Kind of like how it should have ended. People with Superman and Batman in the bar, that sort of setup. It's always an epilogue, right? It's always an extra. And I was actually expecting a post-credit sequence as well, which they have done before. I waited the entire credits, and that would have been the best bar sequence, having Freeman of the Legacies just chatting about, really, Carol, you saved the universe? Have you saved the universe recently? No, I've been doing with Packbeds. Shame on you. That would have been a lovely way of finishing off, etc., etc. Did you feel at all there was slight rewrites on the ending, as in, because I would have been shocked if this was the original end, to go into season 6 losing Freeman and having the way they did it, but it felt like an appropriate, okay, we can rewrite the last scene and give a slightly ambiguous yet pushing forward closing. What were your thoughts on it being a rewrote ending?
Absolutely, I thought it was. Just because of the length of it, the tacked on, I think there was definitely some rewrites to kind of push things forward and give them a good send-off. So yeah, I think that was the case. Made sense because they had enough time to know that this was going to be their final season for this final episode. So yeah. I
mean, boy, South Park can turn around an episode in 2 weeks when they have to as a crunch. So it includes recording and so you can, animation's a lot cheaper that way. It definitely felt that way, which was good because it was a weird, low-key ending, but appropriate. That's a interesting tact there. And I was definitely excited about 34 minutes, but then of course they added a minute of last time on. So I was instantly disappointed by the fact that, they didn't actually, because it was a bit of a cheat, right?
Yeah, new Klingon ships. You see the Cerritos go through a bunch of different iterations, including a single nacelle. And they brought up the whole, how do you even go to warp with the single nacelle? That was great.
Freedom class. So that's now canon as much as you can sort of... Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot for us to talk about in small little breakdown videos, so make sure you're subscribed for those.
I definitely wish they'd gone further on the ISS. They weren't going for character changes, which I thought was a very good choice because they were going for the cheapest possible way of doing fun. I get it. So kit bash ship for us Trek fans, it works. Signal Cell, Dreadnought, whatever, they all would make sense. And the fact that we already see Orny, these are all cheap. But I would have liked to have seen the interior be changed a bit. So when they go mirror, more than just a sticker on the door, have more on the uniform. They would have added a lot, I thought, to the vibe. That one in particular, right? Like, what were the... Especially as we now know that... I don't know if they knew, but we now know how it looks for them in the Prodigy version. So they could have taken that style and shifted it over for the mirror thing. I mean, it's a relatively small thing, but, you know, they went so much effort. It would have been nice if they got a little bit further on some of the smaller things. That said, of course, Klingons turned to the TNG Proto-Klingon. Beautiful. Yeah, I like they acknowledge it. That was really good. The Klingon lady was as generic as they come, and that was fine by me. The Klingon captain, she was thoroughly, wonderfully generic. Absolutely fine. Thoris 80 was a beautiful touch. Yeah, that was great. What do you think of Freeman being promoted to run a multi-organization of Universal Explorers?
At least it was Starbase 80. I mean, she already knew she was serving there in another reality, so that was kind of fun. I think it's fine. It's not necessary. I think, given a track record, it's probably not the best move, but you know, you got to give them all a good send off. So, and I kind of love that. I love the move over for her and the promotion for Ransom. I thought that was great.
Yeah, although having I was badmouthed him heavily last week, I was like, I
didn't badmouth him.
I know. That's why I said I did. I can see him being reprimanded a lot in this job because he's not the smartest of people, let alone captaining. I assume, though, he would tone down the dumbness and actually be a proper captain because he can afford to be dumb and bad choices when he's a commander to make people work better, but he's going to have to be professional finally. So it's interesting, but that's all good. Yeah, I was surprised by Freeman because the track record isn't very strong and she makes lots of mistakes, and dealing with all the universes, you'd need a properly qualified diplomat, and having Starfleet saying the most qualified person, I'm thinking, no, she is not that. That is not a good role for her. Now, part of the team, fine, but that was a very odd, like, we just want to off the ship and do something nice. Like, no, as it didn't flow. And I guess they were telling us that the secret Section 31 Defiant is now going to be a publicly owned, used Federation exploratory ship by Boimler and people who are staying in our universe for some reason, I guess.
Don't know.
Because that seemed unlikely. I don't think Lily's going to agree to stay in our universe. Like the one explorer.
I have no choice. The Beagle's destroyed.
Just take her back. It's easy, right? Build Beagle, the Beagle A. And it was nice to see them, but certainly a line from all of them would have been meaningful. Because we did see them, but we didn't see them.
It would have been cool if Lily said, I can't wait to get to work on your interdimensional drive or your quantum reality drives.
Oh, that's true.
To incorporate with your other tech. Because can you imagine if we had that ability as well as just warp in every ship?
No, that's actually, obviously. Why wouldn't she? I mean, assuming she would agree ethically to give us that tech.
Their prime directive, though. We haven't, I don't know. We'll see.
But due to her actions, they almost killed the multiverse. So possibly we can forgive us enough to give us the tech. It was funny because it left a lot of open ends, but none of them were meaningful to our characters.
It'll be an interesting ship, the Cerritos, moving forward if they do a movie, because we have provisional first officers, joint first officers.
At the low rank of lieutenant junior grade.
Yeah. And then you got your joint science officers on that ship.
At joint rank of lieutenant junior grade and science specialist Vulcan.
Engage the core was funny.
that was good. I liked that. That felt right in brand.
No, overall, this just left me smiling and happy and upbeat, and I think that's exactly what you want from a finale of any kind, let alone a series finale. And yeah, this is a great series finale in my opinion. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of fun. Everybody gets something to do.
Tendi really is suicide line. I mean, Tillin never gets much. They don't expect much. But Tendi was... I mean, Rutherford got the big, thing. So good for him. because Tendi got the first two, right? So she got 2 full episodes. He's had literally nothing this year. So giving him that was good. Although I was surprised because there was no lead up to that whatsoever. And normally you tend to lead up to things, and so him just it being bad for him. And then the laser was not enough last week. That didn't.
Well, in the last time on, they showed he was having trouble interacting with the door earlier in the season. There were quite a few things.
Uh-huh.
At least one.
Yeah, if they're too subtle to notice, then they're too subtle to call out as being well done. So that was definitely random, as if, like I said, they well, we don't have any more, so let's change it so we have a happy ending so there's no ambiguity with his ending. I'm like, but that was very out of the blue, and he's always loved his thing. And I know it highlighted the first episode with the full robot him doing the reverse, but he loved his implant, everything it gave him to his core. Bit out of the blue, and it could have done with a season of setup. Because there wasn't at all.
But the door.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it sort of ignored the rest of the season to give the ending the payoff it needed.
They could have done a little bit of Star Trek Enterprise season 4-ish, where they thought they'd have more seasons, and they kind of incorporated stuff that they were going to planning for other seasons just at the end. Or that whole season, actually. That whole season is kind of feels rushed. But yeah, maybe the plan was to have him lose his implant next season, and that was going to be the arc for that or something. And just get that in there. So if they do live action, the actor doesn't have to worry about wearing the... Which would be a shame not to see, honestly. I'd like to see that in live action. But
that would be fun if that was all just so that when the mini-series... Because then Mariner, as in Tawny, when she writes Rutherford in her new live action show, he's going to have to go through 3 hours of makeup. That's funny. I thought that, yeah. Yeah, so it's definitely a better series finale than season finale. Because it didn't pay off a lot of the season the way it could have, but it was a good series finale because it did the grander stuff. Like having the whales, or the dolphins and the whales, and like having all the little elements.
Now that you've said that, it actually brought something up, which is disappointing to me. Last episode they did... T'Pol did the mind meld with Dax. I was hoping that would pay off in some way, like we'd actually see Jadzia from another dimension, or Ezri from ours, and getting the memories of this other Dax from another dimension, something like that. That feels like an open-ended thing. Like they should have done something with that. There's a few things maybe from last episode that didn't get wrapped up. So
none of them did. Apart from who lived at the end. Yeah, that was definitely... I mean, we said that going in. It was such a different episode. If they knew they were going to go nowhere, those plot lines, don't include them. Because they threw so many minutes at the T'Pol and him storyline. And it was good. But it had to lead somewhere. And I get the argument that big stories, you can just have fun with and be big. But see, last one for the last episode, right? So I wouldn't have wasted the time on that. I would have done more meaningful, or have more references, or have more whatever, like do more with his current story. Because they didn't, entirely absent from episode 2, right? They were entirely, and we didn't even get the 2 Boymans interacting, which was kind of shocking when you think about it. There was no payoff to that arc whatsoever. And given that Ransom and them are going to leave, 0 payoff. The beard's remaining, so I guess that's now a thing. So there's no punishment for Boimler misusing the pad for a year and growing a beard and being the wrong person. He's, I guess, the moral of the story is cheat. That's a problem. I mean, they wrote the pad, but I'm sure he had a backup of the data, so I didn't take that for anything except the physical pad. Of course he saved the data, that's ridiculous. So he definitely has been rewarded for doing a bad thing. Movie, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. A lot of ship action, ship changing from ship to ship to ship. We say it's dense, and it is, but at the same time, it's like, okay, the solution to the problem was a bunch of just flying further into this thing and modulating shields and stuff. So it's not like there's a whole lot to talk about as far as story goes, necessarily. I don't know. I like seeing all the different ships and different versions of the Cerritos, and the new Klingon design's fantastic. Yeah, I don't know. Also, the little evil Chihuahua Targ, that was kind of funny. There's lots of little things that was just great. And again, Lower Decks does that stuff really well, and I'm just happy to be talking about it, because I really thought this one might let the series be a not so great season finale or series finale, and I also thought it might let the last episode down a bit. And the only way it does let it down, I think, is the fact that we don't have any voice dialogue from the legacies from last episode kind of in this one. But other than that, I think it props the other one up really well, and it's a good two-piece and a clear separation of where the two different episodes entirely, but yet
this one unfortunately makes last week, it makes Kim a joke and not a real character, which is a problem because they needed a set payoff for that. There's no Kim, so Kim is now a joke character. It made Lily silly because she should go home, and that arc's giant. It made all the stuff with T'Pol and Curzon meaningless in the grand scheme, which is sad because it was heavily developed, and it made Brad a less important plot line because he didn't have a closing scene with other Brad. Did shave though, because he was less tired. So definitely made the last episode more hollow, but it's still flashy and fun. And I guess we shouldn't expect Lower Decks to be truly deep. It's a cartoon animated series based on Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was smiling the entire way through it, and afterwards I felt great. So it did its job, I think.
Yeah, and it shows when they want to do everything, like kitchen sink an episode, but with their own stuff, it can be dense. But obviously dealing with a huge plot line, right? And like you said, leaving the portal open is an insanely giant thing just for canon, right? Just absolutely insane. Where was that in Picard season 3 and 2 and 1? And why aren't we trying to get, in Prodigy even that's after, Yeah, that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
Yeah, it should have been, this portal should have been right beside the gate thing at the end of Picard with Gerati Borg. Should have like a bunch of gates lined up.
Plot
one
points
with tentacles coming through.
Yeah. Yep. Because they didn't put any limitations on this gate, which is a problem. It was open-ended, but open-ended means you can do whatever you want with it, which is a problem. It would have been nice they'd said, this could lead to further interdimensional travel with further study. Leave it that. But currently, the I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, currently just go through it and travel into any universe. I don't know.
That's kind of the implication, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's good summation.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, let us know what you thought about this episode down in the comments section. And by all means, check out our live review of this. So make sure you're subscribed, notified so you don't miss that or any of the breakdown content we'll be doing. And yeah, hit like, do all the things, and come and join us for lives and stuff. You want to.
You do. This is where we do it, yes. And if you want to support what we do here, then you can on a monthly basis, which we encourage because it helps us out a lot on YouTube by joining the channel. Or on YouTube by supporting the channel via Super Chat. Or on YouTube again by super thanksing on any video like this. Every 5 does make a difference. Or join us on our Patreon, which does help a lot as well. Or buy a shirt link down below. Each and all helps us a lot.
That's right. So until next time, he's Commander Cockings.
He's Captain Foley.
See you later, guys.
Bye, guys.